Hey, Algebra 1 kids, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to week 15, Monday. This is Dr. Callahan. I hope you guys had a very great Thanksgiving. Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions. So you should have a brand new packet coming to your way for this class. This new packet is going to last you until the end of the semester for week 15 to week 18. So the other packet is due, so make sure you guys have that turned in. All right, just to put this thing into perspective so you know what is happening, this is week 15. And next week is going to be week 16, and your finals is on week 18. So after this week, we have 2 more weeks until week of the finals. Last time that I saw you guys, we talked about systems of equations, transformation of absolute values. And today I want you guys to go ahead and turn over to this page for your notes. The first one is a Thanksgiving trivia. You guys just celebrated Thanksgiving. So go ahead and pause it and answer the following 9 questions to see if you actually know some of the trivia. So pause the video and answer the following 9 questions. All right, let's go ahead and go over the answers. Let's see if you guys have them. All right, what was the name of the famous route where pilgrims landed? Take a look at the answers for the first 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, now that we got that out of the way, back in 2005, there were 2 turkeys and they were pardoned and their names were Marshmallows and Yam. I thought that was pretty cute. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and take a look at your stuff today. So take a look at the arrows pointing. You're going to be starting on a Desmos activity today. And so make sure you guys follow the instructions on how to get there. There are several questions that's asking you, and you need to write and also draw the graph as you are graphing them. So first thing I want you guys to do is go to desmos.com. And then if you take a look at the first answer right here, it says, using a slope of 1, describe what happens when the graph is b equals -3. Describe what happens to the graph when b is 0 and when b is 3. So go ahead and graph that, and then write down your response after you graph it on Desmos. So this is what happened when I went ahead and graphed it. So they all have a slope of 1. Okay, so looking at the slope, they have the same slope. And that's something you should probably write down as well on your notate. Same slope. And then take a look at -3, 0, and +3. So one is starting at +3, one is starting at 0, one is starting at -3. So what do you notice the same about these 3 lines? Well, they have the same slope, so they're like railroad tracks. They never get closer, they never touch, and they never get further apart. Then go on to the next one. Question number 2, it says, using the y-intercept of 0, describe what happened when the graph m equals -3. So on your Desmos, you should put y equals -3x plus 0, and describe what happens to the graph when m equals 0, and what happens when m equals 3. So go ahead and graph those 3 equations on desmos.com, draw the lines, write down the descriptions. So you're going to continue on with this pattern. Do that for question number 3. So this is what I did for number 2, and this is what it looks like. So looking at this part right here, what do you notice for this part? Well, you should notice that one is a negative slope, the other one's a positive slope. They all start at 1. I'm sorry, start at 0. And one is just a negative 3 slope, the other one's a positive 3 slope. And if you take a look when slope equals 0, what shape is a line? It is simply just a horizontal line. Question 4 and 5. It says talking about perpendicular lines. And if you remember, what are perpendicular lines? The first thing for number 4 is parallel lines means that they have the same slope. So the first slope is parallel to the second slope. So if my first slope is equal to 3, then my second slope is also equal to 3. They're exactly the same, okay? Now, perpendicular is when they're a little bit different, okay? They're also gonna make a right angle, so you have two different lines here. They create a 90-degree angle. So if my first slope, let's say, is -1/2, my second slope that's perpendicular to this, you would just have to flip it and put a negative to it, so it become a positive 2/1 or just a positive 2. And those are perpendicular slopes. So make sure you guys graph them and then give me a sentence or two describing it. Part 2, it says use a graphing calculator on Desmos to answer the following as true or false. So go ahead and graph them and tell me, is it true or is it false? Continue on with part 2. Part 3 says using what you have learned, answer the following questions. Use the graphing calculator if you need to. What has to be true of y equals mx plus b so that its graph will fall from left to right? And question number 2, write the equation for a line that is horizontal. Remember, with a horizontal line, the slope is always 0, so keep that in mind. And then continue on to answer question number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So for number 6, it says write a function that has a graph that is parallel to this equation. If you look at the slope is always in front of the x. So in this case, it's just x, but there's a number 1 in front of 1. So your slope is just 1. If I were to write another equation that has this that's parallel, it would have the same slope of m equals 1. So for example, y equals x minus 4, or y equals x plus 3. Both of these equations have the same slope as this one, which is just 1. For number 7, if you have to write an equation that is perpendicular to this one, well, the slope for this one is a -1/1, which is -1. So my slope that's perpendicular to the slope will have to be a positive 1. So for example, y equals x minus 2. That is perpendicular to the slope right there. So fill out 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Pause the video and do that. Part 4. It says now explain the condition and effect of graphing linear equations by answering the following in 4 paragraphs. So first, write a paragraph explaining what happens to the graph of y equals mx plus b when m and b are changed. Number 2, imagine you are explaining step by step to another student who may have been absent. How would you describe graphing a line? What components would you need to graph a line? You know that to graph a line, you need y equals mx plus b, but then explain where would you start and how would you know if you go up and over or down and over. For number 3, explain to me how you will graph something that's parallel and perpendicular. And your final paragraph is evaluation of the lessons of the technology that we use. So we use Desmos. Did you like it or not like it? And then justify your answer. All right, last part. Part five, rate your performance on today's activity. So go ahead and take a look. It's a total out of 7, and your total score is gonna be out of 21. All right. So next, what I want you guys to do is on a separate piece of paper that you just grab at home, I'm gonna go over a video on graphing and shading linear inequalities in standard form. So go ahead and copy this example down. Sure, you guys. So then we'll have you guys go back with me to this. All right, so you should be done with your guided notes. And so at this point, your exit ticket is going to be right here. It's going to be a hook, line, and sinker. What hooked you today? What lined up with your thinking? And what didn't sync well? So go ahead and answer the following three questions somewhere on your guided notes. And that will be the end of our lesson. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. As always, stay safe and healthy. Take care.